Hi everyone, I hope you're having a great 4th of July weekend. I'm just finishing up my long weekend and I wanted to show you what I was able to finish up this weekend. I made 3 of the volume 2 of Mama's Fabric Scrapbook, and the first volume was 1899 to around 1905, the samples of fabric that I used. And I based it on Very Little Children. These fabric samples are starting around 1906 and go all the way through 1918. And so I used some kind of school days and young women to depict this scrapbook and the fabrics that were used in the samples that I used. I have very similar books. Some of the differences, this antique lace, I didn't have enough of it for all 3. I used different laces and different slides for each book based on what I had, different antique buttons for the embellishment. But other than that, they're very much the same. So I'm going to go through this one, since I have it unwrapped, with you and let you see what I put together here. I really enjoyed this one, and I'm really feeling blessed to have found these fabric bundles, because they're just telling such a story for me. So this book I used on the cover. This is some linen fabric, kind of an ivory color. I covered the vintage book in fabric. I have this article from the 1913 McCall's magazine, and I fussy cut this lovely lady out and put her on top, and then this article from the magazine, and this is another article from the magazine, and then this lovely lace bow with this antique button. This fabric here is also from this fabric stash. However, this one wasn't labeled, but I thought the color looked really nice with the cover, so I used it. I wanted to keep it with the other fabrics, and I was able to use it on the cover. I also used this antique petticoat. Look at that great embroidery, and some trim to finish off the cover. So, use this vintage fabric to make a hidden spine, and this is actually 3 separate pockets. I used another copy of another article from that magazine, June 1913. And then I love this lady, charming gowns for youthful wearers. Thought that was appropriate for this book. Some young ladies there. The frock shop is from a piece of ephemera that I have, and then just a plain floral paper on that one. I also added these calling cards. In my mind, she's keeping these cards tucked in here to buy fabric. Maybe those were from the frock shop or other fabric stores, just the way my mind was working. And then here's 3 young ladies. I'm not sure if they're reading, but I thought they were perfect for the era and very sweet looking. So I thought they'd be nice tucked inside one of the pockets as well. So that's that inside cover. Then we've got all coffee dyed paper, avocado dyed paper. This tag says they're school dresses from 1908 to 1909. The light blue was new for the last day of school. So I put the 3 fabrics that were attached to this tag on the insides of the envelopes. I also added some vocabulary and lined paper and music paper, and then an article remnant from that says school on it. So, and of course one of my little schoolgirls that I just tucked inside here. All of the envelopes can close up if you want them to. Piece of antique lace along the side of this page. More coffee dyed paper. Lots of texture here, more avocado dyed. And then these tuck spots are from an antique quilt. I had some blocks that I found somewhere many, many years ago. So I was able to use those to highlight this beautiful fabric, along with some additional fabrics that I mounted on just a piece of article here. This is from April 11th. I found this old book, date book that was mostly blank, so using the paper from that. This is school dresses from 1907 and 1908. I pinned the label to them and then glued them on here. And this says the red one was an apron, so that just tucks in there. And then on the other side we have Ruth and Florence's dresses, these two pretty fabrics. And then down here we had the black and white was their school dress, and the other school apron, 1906. So lovely, right? And then to bind this, I actually used blue here, but I actually used red, white, and blue because I saw so much red, white, and blue in the fabrics, and I thought it would just be something different. So this signature, I used blue thread. And here's some more coffee dye. There's about 68 total sides for pages. I love these plaids and the colors, cool combinations, and this photograph, copy of a antique photo with them wearing their plaids. I just thought it was great together. And then this says Florence's school dresses, 1911 to 1912. And I just tucked in some vintage pieces, antique pieces, with some hairpins, just to give it a little flair, and thinking they might have added some of that to embellish their blouses. So that's just a nice little pocket there. Here's a pocket that I made out of the rest of the quilt block from these ladies, just to stash your other collectibles in. And then this signature is made from a very old embroidered tablecloth. The embroidery on this is just so pretty. Sorry, I'm shaking the camera. So I have some antique lace here, and I ran some ribbon through it. Some other remnants of laces here, and then a crochet hook that would have been potentially working on her laces. So this is kind of like all of these open, and I'm not going to try to unbutton them all here, but they all open up, and here's one with button cards inside. It's a little wonky, but it's very old, so it's really just something to stash in here. If you'd like, I'll glue something on the back, but I didn't want to take away from the age of it either. So that's the original button card. There's some wrapped seam binding or ribbon, I think it's ribbon, that I found in a bottom of somebody's very old sewing kit. In here are some, I forgot what I put in this one. Let's look, shall we? Let's take a peek. Oh, these are snaps. Pretty card, huh? So this is actually a reproduction card, because this card was in really bad shape. And I added some snaps from the original card to all three cards. Kind of just split them up between the three. And then this just buttons back up. This is a copy of a needle book that I made into a needle book, so I use these vintage needles to create a needle book with a copy. And in here are some straight pins. And these are all very, very old buttons. You can see these are ceramic, and these are mother of pearl buttons. So kind of mom's little stash of where she keeps all her things to make sure she can continue making beautiful clothes for her daughters and teaching her daughters to sew. That was my thinking. Look at the color and the cross stitch on that. Very nicely done. So as we get into their later school years, Florence's dress is all it says, but here I use this is really lightweight fabrics. This has these very random blue or green dots on this very light fabric. So I just use these as samples with the label there, and this is actually an envelope as well. Some more pages. I like a lot of blank pages for recording. So here I just had this great antique picture of these pretty ladies sitting together at the railroad. I tucked in just an old trade card. Looks like it was pulled from a scrapbook, and a 1906 postmark on this empty envelope. Tuck those in there. And then these fabrics were all bundled together. Look how pretty that is. These are so pretty. I had this Paris tag that I just reproduced and added, like they were looking at fabrics from Paris. This is also part of this bundle. I just used this to attach the fabrics to, and this basically is fabrics they wore between 1916 and 1917. She made a kimono of this flowered crepe. Very pretty, huh? More avocado dye. And then this is, these are from a different magazine around the same era. Really pretty images in this one, so I wanted to use it. Pattern numbers, so basically, oh, this is from Modern Priscilla. I'm not sure what year exactly. Oh, 1913. So this is a blank ordering form that was with those images. And then this says Ruth's lawn. So her lawn dress from 1909. And I just added this piece of lace because I thought it looked pretty with it. It says they had white dresses too. And then this is a pocket here. So this flips open where the fabric is and has a pocket here to stash things in. Then more coffee dyed papers. And then the back cover is a flip out. So I added this, I think this is vintage, it might be antique, embroidered lace, and some antique lace on the flap. And then, so this is Ruth Dresses for the third year they were in the academy, 1916 to 1917. Sorry I keep shaking this today. This is what happens when you have lots of fabric remnants. You get strings everywhere. So don't mind me. Look how pretty this is here. And look at how light. Just beautiful, beautiful fabrics. What a great way to remember them. This is telling us everything they used it to wear. So this is just an envelope. And this is another envelope. So this one is 1914 to 1915. Look at these fabrics. This reminds me of my school uniform. Look how pretty this one is. I had to glue it down because it kept getting stuck everywhere. Really pretty. And it says that she and Ruth had evening dresses of the light blue wool. So that would have been interesting, evening dresses of that. And then this opens up some more, and we've got more of their fabric remnants. So these two remnants are from 1913 and 1914, their last year at the Davenport School, which I believe is in Kansas. And then these beautiful, oh, I love these fabrics. These fabrics were from 1917 to 1918. And then this one, 15 to 16. So this blue, and look how pretty this is. So these fabrics, you can tuck things in here as well. There's plenty of room to tuck things. One's not quite as flexible because it's glued to the back of the book. And that's our book. And I hope you like it. I am going to take a much needed rest, and thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed making them, and stay tuned. Probably next month or so I will work on the 1920s fabric bundles. Just like with this one, I have no idea what direction I'll be going in, but I'm looking for some consistency in the 3 volumes, but also to make them as different as possible. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye.